So I'm going to talk about composition in this little video, and there are various ways of approaching composition. You can start by writing a melody. And then you can add chords and texture and other bits and pieces to that melody to create a bit of music. If you know what you're doing, creating a melody is a nice way of developing a composition. You can take bits of melody and do stuff to them. For example, you can take them up a step. However, composing with a melody is quite difficult because it can lead you into dead ends. For example, if we just keep going with that pattern of taking the tune up a step, when do we stop? You need to have some idea of structure and chords in your head to go along with that melody as you're writing it, to prevent you from just going off at a tangent and getting completely lost. So writing with melody can be a really good thing. If you understand scales and chords and how they fit together, it could be really good. But for a lot of people, they find it easier just to start with a pattern of chords, and that's what I'd like you to work on today and this week. You can do this on your iPads. If you go into the touch instruments, probably a guitar or piano is best to start with, but it can work with strings and other settings as well. You can turn on the autoplay function so that the iPad will play chords for you. All you need to do is tap on the name of a chord, the letter name of a chord, and it will give you an accompaniment based on that chord. So you turn autoplay on, you press a C chord, you get something like this. It just keeps on going like this until you hit another chord, let's say F. By choosing 2 or 3 or 4 different chords in a row, you can very easily on the iPads make up a pattern of chords that could be an accompaniment to a composition. Automatically, the touch instruments give you a selection of chords from within one key. So you'll normally turn on the touch instruments and you'll find, for example, chord of C, F, G or G7, A minor, maybe D minor. Then there might be one slightly unusual one. All of those chords I've mentioned, C, F, G or G7, A minor, D minor, they're the main chords you would expect to meet in the key of C major. And sometimes the iPad will throw in a chord at the end that doesn't belong in that key, for example B flat, and you can hear when I play the B flat chord it sounds a bit unusual. So here's C, F, G, A minor, D minor, B flat. Doesn't sound weird, it just sounds a bit more interesting than the other chords. It uses some black notes, and black notes are not in the key of C major. C major is all the white notes on the piano. I would like for you to play around with some chords this week, probably using your iPads, but maybe just using a guitar or a keyboard or whatever instrument you have to hand. I'd like to come up with a pattern of chords that you like. It may be as simple as 2 chords in a row. It may be 12 chords in a row. It may be a 2-bar pattern that you play lots of times, maybe with some variations. It doesn't actually matter. I just want you to come up with a chord pattern that you like. 2 or more chords that could be the basis of a composition. Now, starting off with the chords within one key is a good idea. So turn on your iPads, play around with those chords on the touch instruments. As I say, it'll probably be C, D minor, F, G, and A minor. However, once you've done that, what might be interesting is to try some slightly more interesting chord progressions. And I'm going to play a few now that are used by Hollywood film composers. You will need to change the chord settings in your iPad touch instruments if you want to do this. That's easily done. You just go into the settings within the touch instrument. When you're on that screen that has the chords on it, go into settings and you can change the chords to whatever you like. Here's some ideas. I'm going to go through about 10 or 15 different chord ideas, and if you like some of these, then you can use them, and you can also combine them. 2 or more of these might work quite well. Each of these chord progressions is meant to suggest something or create a particular sound, and I'll describe that as I go through them very quickly. So, for example, I'm always going to start, by the way, with a C major chord or an A minor chord, but the second chord in each progression is different. So let's say we go from a C chord to a D chord. Now this is an idea that suggests, pattern of chords that suggests something heroic happening in music. C, D, C, D, C, D. Only two chords, C and then D. A slightly more unusual one, go from a C chord to an F sharp chord. Suggests otherworldliness or outer space. So here's C, F sharp, C, F sharp. Okay. Unusual combination of chords suggests that sort of outer space feel. Going from C to A flat is a sort of fantasy sound. C, A flat. C to E minor suggests that it's a very melancholy sound. It suggests sort of sadness or a sort of childish loss. So C, E minor. It's a bit Edward Scissorhands. C, E minor. C to F minor. C to F minor suggests something sort of romantic, dramatic, maybe even sort of Middle Eastern. C, F minor. It's a bit Indiana Jones. It's sort of romantic bit in the middle of Indiana Jones. C, F minor. F minor 6 is even better if you want to be really clever about it. Go from C to F major, and it creates a sort of uplifting feel, almost a sense of wonder. Here's C, F, it's a very, very basic couple of chords that. It's very sort of childlike, innocent wonder. Go from C to G minor, and we get a sort of almost alien sort of feel. C, G minor. Almost like you're exploring a new world for the first time. C, G minor. All of those ones I've done so far start with a C major chord and go somewhere else. The ones that are coming up all start with A minor. A minor going to B major sounds like this. It's a wee bit Batman. Quite a dark sort of sound. Could almost be some dark comedy. A minor to E flat minor. Again, it sort of suggests an evil character, that one. A minor to F minor. You'll maybe recognise that from this piece of music. A minor, F minor, A minor, and so on. So obviously a very dark character. It's the Darth Vader chord. Last one, A minor to A flat major. So A minor, A flat major. again, quite a moody sort of sound, quite dramatic. A minor, A flat major. Lots of ideas there. You don't need to do one of those, but if one of particular of those ideas takes your fancy, then by all means use it. You don't need much more than 2 chords to start you off on composition. If you want to come up with something that is 3 chords or 4 chords or 5 chords, fine, that's up to you. All I'm looking for at the moment though is a start, a little pattern of chords that you like, 2 or more chords that you think could be the basis of something interesting. And we'll talk another time, possibly even after the summer, about how to develop those 2 chords into something else by adding melody, by adding other chords, by extending it, by thinking about a structure, and so on. Anyway, that is the task for this week. Play around with some chords. Have fun. Remember, I'm at the end of an email here, so get in touch if you want to ask anything at all, even if it's just to say hello. Bye-bye.